Welcome to the 24th Annual Wild and Scenic Film Festival. I'm your host, Elisa Parker. We're based here in Nevada City and also Grass Valley, California. It's one of the largest festivals of its kind in the United States. I love it. Amazing. I call them everyday environmental action heroes come. Our first guest today is Robert Hanna, and Robert is the great-great-grandson of John Muir, and he's a conservationist, and he's from California, and here he is with us, our first guest of the day. Hi, Robert. Welcome.
Hi there. Thank you so much for having me. This has been an amazing day.
It's such a pleasure. So I should also preface that you were here at the festival, and you were just with Teresa Baker doing a panel discussion.
Yes.
What were you talking about at the panel discussion today?
So the panel discussion led off first about the history of the Buffalo Soldiers, and Teresa and I had met years ago, and she had put together a very inspirational journey into Yosemite Valley in connection to the Buffalo Soldiers and their history.
Okay.
And so as a part of that, we came out and I worked with her on different pieces of legislation to forever honor the Buffalo Soldiers and their connection to not only Yosemite Valley, but to the national park system. So we were able to work to rename the southern entrance of Yosemite after the Buffalo Soldiers.
Wow, that's incredible. Tell us about the Buffalo Soldiers for folks who don't know.
So the Buffalo Soldiers were our very first park rangers.
Okay.
And the historic route that they took from the Presidio into the southern entrance into Yosemite, that's why we chose the southern entrance. So it is their story is incredible, and I would definitely encourage everybody to look that up, learn that, because it's such an important part of our public lands and our national park system.
Right. Now, this has been it's in your DNA, Robert, in your blood, and you've been living out, I'm sure it was more than just your great-great-grandfather, by the way, who was engaged in supporting and protecting our natural world, and continuing on that legacy as well. Was it true that you've helped save, 70 California state parks?
So I believe it was around 2012, and because of the budget deficit, there were 70 state parks on the chopping block to close.
Yuba River State Park was one. I remember we had a huge town hall discussion.
Yes. And so what happened is that's something that I knew that I had to be a part of. And there were, like you said, there were a lot of special places to me on that list. So through a grassroots effort in traveling up and down California, I was able to help be a part of the effort to remove the 70 and prevent them from closing. And then later on, there was legislation to help parks through different funding mechanisms through the state. So it was an incredible effort. I met so many amazing people, and like you said, every city that I would go to, it was just so inspiring to see what these places meant to the towns. And every time I just left, just reignited to just give it all. So it was an amazing time.
Right. I mean, this has been such a significant part of your life. What does that mean to you when someone asks, like, being connected to the land and being part of that? And even in the second part is even just protecting that.
So it's a great question. What I've learned a lot through my family and just through my own work is these incredible places, every single one of us develop a personal connection to them that is so different. For a lot of these places are just very inspiring to people. A lot of them are places where people go just to clear their head. But I've also learned that a lot of them are life-saving. And so I've talked to so many different people with different stories, but the one common thing is that in going to visit and enjoy and experience these places, you develop that connection, which later leads you to want to fight for them if they're ever threatened.
Yes.
And that is the one thing that I've always seen, is that if you get people out to the outdoors, they will connect with them in their own way, and they will always do the right thing if those places are ever threatened. And that's what my family did.
It reminds me of, one of our guests last year, there was a new state park that was developed was it off the Delta or Central California? And a key part in that was really integrating the people that live there, how it supported their lives, and just knowing it was a really vital part of their community.
Yes.
Yeah,
and that's the thing, is these places, they're not just, they're a lot of towns, like in the Eastern Sierra, for instance, they rely on that tourism. So if something happens, like Mono Lake was on that closure list, it wasn't just the land and the park that was threatened, it was the entire community, because they rely on those folks to come through. And what was amazing was a lot of people were telling us at that time that they weren't even going through the entire area because they just figured everything was closed. And so they stopped going to the stores, they stopped going to the restaurants, and that affected all those people that relied on that.
Robert, another key aspect of your work has been around the Hetch Hetchy. I mean, talking about your great-great-grandfather and John Muir, and there's pictures, of him in Yosemite and at the Hetch Hetchy, right? I believe even before it was dammed.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And it looks like, they called it what, Little Yosemite?
Yeah, it's Yosemite's sister valley.
All right, tell me about your relationship with the Hetch Hetchy. And I know there's been talks for a long time about restoring that and removing the dam.
Even when I was younger, I can always remember even the first times going to Hetch Hetchy and hearing the story. And I just always remember that I even knew that I couldn't understand what I was listening to. Like, there was another Yosemite Valley, but it was destroyed and flooded under 300 feet of water. So I always remembered it really bothered me.
Right.
And it simmered in me for so long. And I just could never wrap my head around how that was even allowed to happen. And then learning about my great-great-grandfather, who dedicated the last 10 years of his life to try to prevent that from happening, I really was able to just, through all of his writings and the family's collection, I was able to just kind of immerse myself into that last 10-year battle and really understand not only what he had to go through, but how passionate he was to stop this from happening. And it's just really, it's always inspired me. And it's something that what we know today is that we have a clear path forward to restore the Hetch Hetchy Valley in Yosemite National Park without anybody losing their water. And my goal is to build a coalition across this country to correct one of the historic wrongs of our times, but to, in many ways, I think it will unite our country around something so special in knowing that we could leave this incredible gift to all future generations and leave them a better park system.
That's phenomenal. All right, so you talk about the pathway, building a coalition. So that's exciting, Robert. Is that where we are right now? And building that coalition, what does that look like?
Yeah, so recently there's an organization led by somebody that I know, Spreck Rosecrans. He has the group Restore Hetch Hetchy, and together we have been collaborating on different things. So they just came out with a new report called the Cherry Report that shows yet another way that this could be done without anybody losing their water or water rights. And we together joined, Spreck and I joined along to writing a letter that went to every member of Congress just recently, asking them to amend the Raker Act so that we can, get this ball rolling and make it possible. Ronald Reagan's Secretary of the Interior, Don Hodel, joined us on that letter, and so did Senator Lois Wolk, who worked with the Schwarzenegger administration, who he also did a report, I believe in 2006 here at the state, that showed it could be done. So the four of us joined a letter to kind of get this ball rolling, to urge Congress to amend the Raker Act, work with us on a win-win solution. And right now, I'm in the process now of following up and scheduling a lot of those meetings with elected officials across the country.
All right. So you're going to have to keep us posted on that. Hopefully, when you come back next year,
yes,
we'll have more updates, because this has been something in the process for a very long time.
Yes.
Do you remember the first time you visited Hetch Hetchy?
Yes, I was probably, let's say, 11 or 12 years old. We had gone to Yosemite quite a bit.
Right.
But the first time I went to Hetch Hetchy, and then I kind of learned the story, I was like, oh. And I just remember that it was a complete different tone, where my family, and I remember them telling me that one day I would understand the full reason of what this place we were looking at meant to our family's story.
Right.
And that, the time would come to do the right thing.
Yeah.
So the time's come.
What a story to have. I mean, it's interesting too, because when you think of our great-great-grandparents, it seems so distant
It really
and far
does.
in that connection. So what an opportunity to have that story and be bridged. I'm assuming it's been the bridge of his legacy, right? Has been carried on, and I don't know how that's been. I mean, were there other writings and things that people had in the family, or was it more oral stories around?
It's funny you say that. So my connection to Muir is through his oldest daughter, Wanda, and then she married Tom Hanna.
Okay.
Together they had 6 children, all of Muir's grandchildren, and then my grandpa was number 4. So it's funny because his entire collection was kind of split amongst those 6 branches of the family through time. And what happened is my grandparents' generation, they kind of recognized this, and there was just boxes of things in people's garages. They were hanging things in the house. It was just scattered. So the family brought the entire collection together. And that collection today is at the University of Pacific in Stockton.
Okay.
And one of the things that the family always wanted to make sure was that it was protected and that it was accessible to the world. So you can actually go online and look in all of his journals, all of his drawings, all of the family photos. So that entire collection is there. And there's still some things scattered throughout the families, like, a relative of mine has his bed.
As his bed?
Yeah, there's just different little unique things like that. I have his inkwells that he used to
that's wonderful.
Write all the things.
Okay.
And like I said, there's a lot of times in my own work where I would just be exhausted and I would just look at those inkwells and say, just keep writing.
Keep
one
going.
more thing, and things like that.
I love that. Oh my gosh, just think of the day like maybe you'll be able to sign something around the restoration of Hetch Hetchy with that inkwell.
Yeah.
Real quick, if you want to say right there, Robert, why is this so important for everyone right now, and what can we all do to be part of the work that you're doing specifically around the Hetch Hetchy?
So I'm very active on social media. On X, it's at Robert Hanna, Instagram at HannaMan247. I just invite people to just follow the journey. You could always reach out to me on my website. That's hannaplus.com, HANNAPLUS.com. And you can reach out to me, not only just to follow, all of the different progress that we're making and different conversations we're having, but to just connect. And that's the biggest thing is I think the best thing people could do is use their voice.
Use your voice.
This is a passion project. So I want to unite with people and I want to have conversations with everybody and having the conversation about why this is important and why that I think this is important, not to just deliver an incredible gift to the future, but what it means to our public lands now and uniting people across the country around these places.
I think it's fantastic. Thank you so much, Robert.
Thank you
for being part of the festival this year. We look forward to hearing more updates, and we're all going to be part of this.
I really appreciate it. This has been
a
special time, and what an incredible week. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, Robert Hanna, part of Wild and Scenic Film Festival here at the Media Lounge. We're going to be featuring all kinds of extraordinary people and their passion projects, just like Robert here. I'm Elisa Parker, and we'll be back.